Informed Entrepreneur. I am Heike Heyman with IdeaShare, and this is Mary Ewenson of Spinsheet.
Yes, thank you.
I do hope I pronounced that right.
You did.
So we wanted to find out, for starters, how did you begin with this business? What got you into it? What keeps you going?
Yeah. Well, I got into it because I'm a sailor, because I'm interested in boating. So I didn't have a career goal of owning magazines in the marine industry. I was in my 20s and wanted to go sailing, and had a friend who said, hey, let's start a magazine business. We had both worked for another magazine that had failed, and my dad encouraged us. He just started a new firm, and he said, you guys can do this. So we sort of fell into it, and we started out with Spinsheet, which is our sailing magazine, and 10 years later we started Prop Talk, which is our powerboat magazine. And now the business is 21 years old.
Fantastic. And it's certainly a big success, especially now that print media is going away in a lot of places.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. We started our first website in 1995 when we started the print magazine. And everybody said, why are you starting a magazine? Nobody will read magazines anymore. It's all going to be on the web. It's this new thing. And here we are 21 years later. We are distributing more copies than we ever have before. We have very strong websites, and so we get a lot of traffic at spinsheet.com and proptalk.com, but what we find is a lot of people still like to read a magazine, especially if it's something you're passionate about.
Right.
And it's a really niche publication. I think if you're a big survey publication, it's a different story, but it's worked out well for us that we have a very targeted market.
And how big is your distribution?
Our distribution of Prop Talk, which is our powerboat magazine, is actually larger than our sailing distribution, and that averages just about 35,000 copies per month. We are 12 months a year. Spinsheet averages around 26,000 copies, but during the season we're up over 30,000 copies. It's the sailing season sort of runs April to October, depending on when the spring and fall really kick in.
And how far do you distribute geographically?
Our core of our distribution is from Hampton, Virginia, up to Havre de Grace, Maryland. So really all over the Chesapeake Bay, east and western shore. And then we do have some distribution up and down the East Coast at some of the major yachting centers up and down the coast.
That's huge. And do you have a lot of competition when you go further out, or do you have plans to go further out?
We don't have plans to go further out, because we think one of the things that makes us so strong is that for Spinsheet we are sailing and the Chesapeake Bay. And for Prop Talk, we are powerboating and the Chesapeake Bay. If we try to do all of the East Coast or all of the United States, we won't be able to dig in as deep as we do.
Right.
And so we can offer really in-depth coverage because of our geographic limitations there.
Right, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's good to be in a niche. Now,
Yeah.
did you start out with this magazine being free, or did you change?
It was always free. We modeled it after some other publications that are out there. There's one on the West Coast called Latitude 38, and there was one that had been on the Chesapeake that actually had failed, but we thought it was a good idea, and we thought, oh, we can do that a little differently. So we got lucky, I think, because free distribution works really well with the internet. That we don't have to worry that if we put our content on the web, we are somehow cannibalizing our print, because our print is also free.
Right.
So
right.
we are distributed for free all over the Bay at over 800 locations.
Wow. That requires a team.
We have a large distribution team, and they're really dedicated, really great people.
And what about your in-house team? How big are you here?
We're 11 full-time here, and it's sort of split between production, editorial, and sales, and so about a third of each. And we've got really interesting group of people. They're all boaters, and so we actually keep track of how many days we all spend on the water. And last year our team averaged 55 days on the water each. So
That's very nice.
with nobody getting fewer than 30 days on the water. So,
Wow.
and to us, a day on the water is any time you leave the dock. So if you get out there, it might not be for very long, but you got to get off the dock.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, have you always done competitions for your covers?
You mean the cover competition
Cover
where?
photos?
Sure, yeah. I think that Molly Winans, our editor, started that maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago. And we ask our readers to send in their favorite photos. And it's been great fun. So every year, one of our covers is a reader taken photo, but we also put the rest of them on our website and in the magazine for
Oh,
people to
that's
see.
nice. That's
Yeah.
nice, that extra recognition.
Yeah.
So do you have any tips for people that want to start a business from scratch and grow it to 11 people? I would imagine there are a couple of hurdles.
Yeah, of course. And it's interesting. When we were starting the magazine, we never thought, let's grow this to 11 people and let's have 2 different publications and let's be as big as we are. I mean, there were just 2 of us. My friend Dave Gandel and I started it together, and we didn't have anybody else helping us. And all we wanted to do was make a magazine. And I think a lot of people would tell you to have a business plan and have all these things in place, but I think you more just have to have a vision of what you're going to be in your market. So our vision was that we wanted to be the sailing magazine everybody picked up.
Right.
And so we didn't know how big we would grow or what we would mean to the industry in the long run, but now we've become an integral part because our readers and our advertisers and our staff are so interconnected.
Right.
And so I guess my advice would be to pick an industry that has a need and make sure that whatever business you're starting is something that people are going to want and need. It doesn't mean they know they want and need it before you start it,
Right.
but that there's a real place for you, that you have a niche and you know where you're going to fit in, and then meet as many people as you can. Because the more people you know, the more they can give you input into what you're doing well or what you're not, and you can find out what they need.
Right. So what I'm hearing also is you need to have the passion
Yes.
and be open to learning and feedback.
Yeah, and you have to get by on very little sleep.
Oh, yes, yes. I have
For a
heard
long
that.
time.
I've heard that from many people, 60, 70, 80 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, that's common. But hopefully you've leveled off from that.
You know, it levels off and then we start something new and it ramps back up again. But when you're excited about it, this team comes up with new ideas all the time. And so we started a publication 8 years ago called Start Sailing Now, because we kept hearing that not enough people were staying in sailing or getting into sailing, so we started a free publication that comes out once a year to encourage people to try sailing.
Oh.
So every time you add something new like that on, then it's going to take more time.
Yes.
You need more bandwidth,
Right.
and you can't add more people to work on it until you've got the revenue to hire those people. So it's sort of like a step-up process. You
Right.
don't sleep much for a while, and then you get some sleep, and then you
Yes.
don't sleep much. But yeah.
Now, considering the topic of your publication, do you have people standing at the door whenever there's a new position open?
We get a lot of applications. There are a lot of people that like the idea of wearing flip-flops and shorts to work and having to go
Right.
out on the water. I mean, having to go out on the water, but yeah.
Right.
But we work really hard. So we do wear flip-flops, we do bring the
Right.
dog to work, but there, especially at deadline time, there's some very long days.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But you have an advantage over other business owners that, for whom the biggest problem seems to be finding staff.
Yeah.
That's one you got covered.
We do. We don't have a shortage, and we're very fortunate. We have a lot of we have a summer internship program that we've had good college students every year come and work with us, and we actually 2 years ago had one we really loved, and we hired her when she graduated, and because we were
Fantastic.
creating a new position, and we thought she'd be great for this. So, yeah, we do have a lot of options when we are hiring.
So what is your biggest joy about this business, and what's the biggest challenge?
The biggest joy is running into people who've read something in the magazine, or who have gotten into sailing, or have gotten into fishing because of something they read in our books. It's great. I mean, we're all boaters, so we want everybody else to be doing it. And when you find someone who wasn't a boater and is now, or had taken a break and got back into it, or has always done it but found something new and exciting, when they engage with us, that's the best part. And the most challenging thing is that it is the marine industry. And so we're the recreational part of it. There's an entire maritime industry
Right.
that obviously is commercial. And so when the economy goes down, I mean, sure, the people that sell gasoline and groceries, they get hit a little bit. The people that sell boats, they get hard
Yes.
hit, really
Yes.
hard. And so when the economy was tanked in 2008, people had less free time, so they cut out boating. And if they cut out boating, they don't buy boats, they don't buy sails, they don't buy
Right.
services. So it's really hard to see everyone in the industry struggle, and we certainly, I mean, it wasn't our best years.
Sure.
We were never close to failing, but they weren't happy years.
Right,
So, yeah.
right.
So it's hard when and it's great when the economy is good and everybody
Right.
has free time, but especially now, with most families being sort of dual income families, there's so much less free time,
Right.
which is a real challenge.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Do you see more interest in renting boats than buying, and how does that impact your advertising dollars?
Yeah, so there's a whole new industry within our industry of sort of timeshare and boating clubs where that didn't exist as much. There's always been them here and there. And especially with the millennials coming up, who everyone tells us they don't want to own things. And so it's a great way to try a certain kind of boat or to try the lifestyle before you commit to a boat.
Right.
Many people who do that then go on and buy a boat. They think, oh, I don't want to just be limited to the 4 hours or the 8 hours that I can get
Right.
it. I want to have my own. So there is a new growth industry there, and a lot of the boat manufacturers have sort of teamed up with these clubs. So you may have a certain kind of brand of boat. You team up with one of these clubs, so you may not be selling to individuals, you're selling it to the clubs. So
Right.
I think they're helping the industry grow, and we're all trying to figure out how to work around that. Because, the guys who just sell boats are thinking, oh, but we're making it work.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I so appreciate your time today, and I wish you much luck for many, many more years with Spin Sheet and Prop Talk.
Oh, well, thank you so much. This is great.
Nice to meet you, Erin.
Nice to meet you as well.